Hey guys, it's the Star Wars dude here, and today I'm going to be talking about why Starkiller is never going to be brought back into the canon. Yes, the answer is no. Starkiller is never going to be made canon, sadly. And that's because of a couple reasons. It's because a lot of the story beats in his games have been already retreaded in new canon content, and other parts to his character just would not fit into the new canon with the time and the power of him. Like, his force abilities are way too overpowered, and I'll get into that. Now, to open my argument about how overpowered Starkiller is, just take a look at this clip.
Where is she?
Obey me, or she dies, apprentice.
And I will admit, that clip is pretty badass. But I'm looking at this from a story standpoint and how it could fit into the canon. And there's no way they're putting that into the canon. The only way they'll put Starkiller into the canon is if they take off a lot of his powers and make him way less OP, which might take away some of his characteristics as well, which is why I think they're going to never go back to Starkiller at all. Completely. Galen Merrick is dead, basically, as far as we know, because they're not going to revisit him at all. It's just his powers do not fit into the Star Wars universe. I've said this before in my Why I'm Glad Legends Isn't Canon video, but Starkiller just is so overpowered, and he just takes away, his power takes away from the strength of Obi-Wan and Anakin and Luke and people like that, because he's just so overpowered. He has all these crazy abilities, and I know from a gameplay standpoint that's great. I totally respect that they had to do that, but I just don't ever see it becoming canon, just because he would be way too much of a match for all the Rebels characters. Just really outmatches all of them just because he has these absurd powers. Now, enough ranting on that. I actually do really love the character of Starkiller. And don't get me wrong, I think he is a well-written character, and his powers are cool from a gameplay standpoint, because they are really fun to play as. I've played both games, and they're really fun. It's largely because of all the Force and lightsaber moves you can do. I'm just saying, it just doesn't fit into the canon of Star Wars. It doesn't fit into that, because of all, he's just way too overpowered, and I've said this way too much now, but he just doesn't fit. Now, going into why Galen Merrick, even if he wasn't overpowered, why they can't even bring him into it now. It's because the time zone that the game is based in, a decade or so after Revenge of the Sith, in between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope, Rebels is that time period now in canon. And even with that, Rebels has taken a lot of the story elements and stuff like that from The Force Unleashed already. Rebels has adapted a lot of the plot points from Star Wars The Force Unleashed and put them into Rebels. Basically, Rebels and the first Force Unleashed game have almost the exact same premise. An orphaned, young, Force-sensitive boy is trained under a Jedi Master, or a Jedi, who was in the Clone Wars and survived Order 66, who eventually becomes blind, drinks for a while. The two join a team of well-rounded individuals and soon form the Rebel Alliance. There are also plenty of other similarities as well. They both clash with Darth Vader, they both struggle in between light and dark, they both help rescue Wookiees, and they both grapple with their parents' deaths. So essentially, Ezra is basically the new Starkiller, to a certain extent. Other than that, they both encounter Bail Organa, they both meet a Force-sensitive Togruta, they both help an Imperial defect, and even the reverse grip is shown off in both The Force Unleashed and Star Wars Rebels by Starkiller and Ahsoka. The new canon, especially Rebels, has done a really good job at just taking those important story elements and those plot points and putting them into their show pretty subtly. And so it just doesn't seem relevant now to bring Galen Merrick into the mix, since they'll just be retreading a ton of stuff in the new canon. Well, that's basically it for my argument about how, even though I love the games and I love Galen Merrick, aka Starkiller, I just don't think there's a way for him to be implemented into the new canon, because Rebels has kind of mined those plots and those characters, like those character traits and stuff like that. So I don't think there's really reason to bring him back in, and he's really overpowered. So that just kind of takes him out of the mix even more. And since Disney bought Star Wars and canceled the third game, there's no indication that they're ever going to go back to him, which is kind of sad, but it's just the truth. So if you enjoyed this video at all, make sure to like and subscribe for more Star Wars content. See you guys next time. Star Wars Dude out.
There's much conflict in you. Your feelings for your new allies are growing stronger. Do not forget that you still serve me.